Long Season is a 35-minute dream pop and progressive psychedelic song by the iconic Japanese band Fishman. This one-song album, released in 1996, Long Season is an edited version of an earlier song, Season, which is only 6 minutes long. The song came on an earlier single, and Shinji Sato, the lead vocalist, thought it would be perfect to realize his project. This album would come out after Something in the Air and would be riding off of the success of it. Up until this point, Fishman was only known for making reggae music and defining the Shibuya-kei sound, so adding this psychedelic mix was a big change for them in overall production and direction. Upon release, the album was very highly acclaimed and would be known for its genius blend of both reggae and dream pop. Songs like Baby Blue and Night Cruisin' would quickly become fan favorites. They decided to keep releasing music under this format. However, Shinji Sato, the lead vocalist, complained after making the album that he wished it were just one song. He claimed that stopping each story and each song with a different song was a problem, and that he wished the one song would have no interruptions, simply playing on end. In an interview with him, he is quoted to have said, "We thought that we could express the world of 8 songs with just one." Initially being scoffed at for such an idea, it was only until his bandmates started to execute his idea that his dream would be realized. I personally love this song, as it was also in my top 5 songs for the Earbuds Wrap this year, despite it being 35 minutes. If I had to describe the song, I would say that it's like a long haul of sounds that also has some messages about time and life. The song itself, translated, is only 353 words, which is pretty small, even for a 4-minute song, let alone one 9 times the length. Yet despite the lack of lyrics, the song is still great at showing you that you do not need a great vocal performance to convey a powerful message. That simply the order of instruments and the performance of those instruments can be good enough to convey a vast array of feelings. If anything, the song taught me that this is what music should be like. It's better this way because of how open-ended it be. Anyone can come up with their own interpretation and have it impact it in the way they need it to be. Back to my interpretation of the song. Yeah, I really feel like the instruments and the presence of those instruments are great representations for time and in life. There isn't one instrument that is present for the entirety of the song, and if anything, it seems that they're fighting over the main melody. The song starts off with a rock being thrown into the water, and you can quietly hear some instruments laying in the background. The first near 2 minutes are really good at immersing you in this lull-like state. It's not until a full minute and 45 seconds in where you can finally hear part of the main melody. In Long Season, I like to categorize the song into 2 categories. There's the main melody, which I will go in more depth in a second, where similarly like a rock song, it contains a lot of sustenance and structure. And there's the sort of underwater dream, where it becomes highly atmospheric and experimental. The music shifts into an ambient-inspired soundscape, which incorporates sounds of nature, water droplets, and fairy chimes, which all help to create the disorienting yet dreamlike experience. Heck, there are even laser beams added into the mix. This is what I consider the main melody. Although it doesn't consist of one part, the structure of drums in the background, the piano arpeggio, the guitar notes, and even the harmonica coming into the mix are all components of this main melody. Now, the atmospheric area is, well, just that. It's somewhat of a gloomy dream. I'm probably not the most certified or anything to describe what it is. All I can say is that it's pretty artistic. I'll leave it up to the listener to decipher and decide what it is. All I can speak about is that it's not in any order at all. It seems as if multiple instruments are being introduced, none of which were included in the main melody, and they are trying to become center stage amid this quiet atmosphere. Some of these examples could be a scratchy violin, humming, a Moog synthesizer, and some kind of water droplet. Now, if the first 10 minutes of the song was going in and out of the main melody, and the next 11 or 12 minutes of the song is a bunch of jumbled up noise, you're probably thinking, what comes after the dream state? There's no way the song ends by just slowly drifting off with a random burst of noise. In which I'd reply that it's you finally waking up and arriving at the destination. When Sato originally wrote Season, the 6-minute version of the song, he sings about traveling from one end of Tokyo to the other, feeling happy but lonely, being in a dream state but also being dazed by a cold medication. He's able to paint all of these images in relatable terms, highlighting the richness and peculiar things of simply just existing. I think this part of the song is getting out of that state. It's as if you're on a road trip and you're sleeping in the car, but you finally wake up 15 minutes before arriving at your destination. I would argue that this is the perfect time for someone to wake up. You're able to take in the new views of this new area that you've never been in, and finally being able to depart from the vehicle that you've been in for the past 8 hours, finally arriving at this new location. So in the final conclusion of the song, the third part, you finally arrive at this destination, and it's just as how your journey started. It is the same melody, the same chorus as the start. However, it's not entirely the same. There's almost a different air to it. There are some subtle changes along with some different motifs. Some of the motifs being the violin, the whistle, the drum pattern, the piano chord, the synth being added to the guitar. An arpeggio is a technique in which a chord, instead of being played at once, is played in a repeating sequence, usually used to make a sound flow. One of my favorite instances of one is in Weird Fishes, where arpeggio is in the name. Weird Fishes includes multiple arpeggios, and while I might not be as articulate or educated in how I talk about it, and not really certified to talk about it, I definitely think that the feelings of this specific arpeggio are definitely felt throughout the course of the song. In Weird Fishes, you hear the same drum pattern with the mellow hi-hat the entire time, and you really can recognize the arpeggio with the guitar. Instead of playing the entire chord each drum, they break it apart. And not only do they break it apart, but you hear the same pattern the entirety of the song. In Avatar, when Iroh and Zuko are in Ba Sing Se, Zuko is complaining about the state of their life currently. Iroh says to Zuko, "Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not." Zuko honestly had a pretty good reason to be mad. They're in a poor circle in a large city where they have to hide their own identities since they're wanted fugitives, and they're also banished from their own nation in which they're royalty. This is probably a low light in both of their lives, and despite this, life still happens. I choose to show you this clip because I feel that Iroh said it best. Life happens wherever and whenever you are. The arpeggios in both songs are always present, whether or not you are at a high in your life or a low in your life. The melody will still persist, just as time will always persist. In Long Season, there is a whole 10-minute section of just adrift and random instruments. But even through this turmoil, you, the listener, can survive this bad, unorganized season and finally get back to the main melody. Life can be structured and sometimes uncontrollable, but that's okay, just as long as you keep up. Life also will come in seasons, and it's up to you to persist and keep pushing on. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel, and the main melody and chorus will always play again and again, and there's always a valley on the other side of the mountain. The long season is the mountain and is this climb, where the valleys are what you consider the chorus, and the hard climb of the mountain is when you are underwater. Those difficult experiences can transform who you are, and you can pick up new things that add to your entire personality and aggregate being. The final melody is so much more powerful than the beginning part. It almost makes it seem dull and lackluster in character. There is so much more added on because of the journey that you went on throughout the song. There's so much more added on with the violin and the vocal performance that Sato demonstrates at the end of the song. All in all, Long Seasons is a perfect 10 out of 10 song. Thank you for watching.